So you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. If there's anything that any of us can relate to in all of the ways, it is chaos in the home. We all have something going on in our lives. Places where kids need to be, food that needs to be fed, and messes everywhere. And my guest today, Laura Hernandez, is the owner and developer of Mama Systems to help calm the chaos. So we are going to dive into those nitty-gritty areas that we all need help with. Laura, I'm so excited to have you on the show today. I know that we're going to walk away with some major nuggets of how to keep soldiering on. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to hang out with you.
Yeah, me too. So before we get started, or as we get started, please introduce us, introduce yourself to us. Tell us who you are and how in the heck you run a household of 10 wonderful children. I am just in awe.
Well, there's so many things, but we live in the Dallas area. My husband and we have 10 kids, and 3 are adopted through foster care. And those 3 have special needs. And then 2 of our biological ones also have special needs. So we're kind of we have many experiences in this home, and they're not always calm experiences, but the joy of putting systems in place is that you can kind of calm the chaos and you can bring it down so many notches, because there's things that are not children's behaviors, but things that just need to get done on a daily basis. And if you have those things flowing smoothly, all the rest of the stuff is easier to deal with, because all of the mundane stuff is already taken care of.
Oh my goodness. I tell you, I feel like systems is the washing machine of our home universe. Like if you have a system, and this goes for business too, if you have a system in place where the kids understand it and they know it and it creates a predictability, I have found in my own home that their behavior is better and there's less confusion and there's less of a sense of what's happening next, which I feel like if your kids have that sense, that can cause a lot of behavioral issues because there's a sense or lack of security. So I love that you've developed this and are sharing that with people, because I feel like that's where a lot of calm can come, is that sense of what we can expect in the home.
Yeah. And I think that's also the case for moms too, because just if we know what's coming and we have that predictability in our lives, even if we're people that like spontaneity and all of those things, like we really thrive on knowing what we're supposed to be doing. And so if we have a plan for all of the things around us that need to get done, we're not as stressed out, we're not as chaotic, and we can respond and react in ways that are more peaceful with our kids.
Ooh, I love it. I can already tell we're going to share some good nuggets here. So if no matter what you're doing, please keep a little notebook or put notes in your phone as you're listening, because we are going to delve into some really good tips here. And so please tell us, what was it? I mean, as a kid, did you imagine someday I'm going to be a mom? Like that's something you wanted. Did you imagine yourself having 10 children? Like walk us through what happened. Like how did that happen with the 10?
Yeah. So I have always wanted a lot of kids, and it was like a ridiculous amount, like 25 or something crazy like that.
Wow.
We're not getting there. So to put everyone at ease, we're not going to 25.
Wow.
But I always wanted a big family, and I just loved kids. And I remember reading one time an article from, this is not fun to talk about, but reading an article about the civil wars in Rwanda and about the warlords like crucifying a woman and like cutting the baby out of her belly. And just,
oh my
I
gosh.
remember like at the age of 12, my heart just broke. And I thought, I want to adopt all the babies and bring them all under my roof so that doesn't happen to them. And so that's kind of where my heart for adoption came in. And as my husband and I got married and we started having kids, and we had our 3rd biological, and he said, we've got to hurry up and do this adoption thing, because I don't know if I can do any more than 4. And so we started foster care, and we had Andrew, and he went back to his mom and ended up coming back with 2 more siblings a couple of years later when we had 2 more kids. And during that time, we went from having 4 kids to 8 kids in a 6-month period, along with a cross-country move, along with renovating this house and renting another house, and also another sibling in there for a hot minute of theirs for his first 2 months of life. He came to live with us. And so it was kind of chaotic. There was a lot going on. We had 5 little people that were 4 and under, all in diapers. And
Oh my gosh.
it was just a lot. We had people coming in and out of our home all the time, and just different caseworkers and therapists, and I mean, all these doctor's appointments. There's so many things that made our family so unique. And I read books and blogs and all the things trying to figure out like, what in the world do I do? Because
Mm.
I felt so overwhelmed. I remember giving myself pep talks to get to the end of the day, just thinking like, if I can just make it to bedtime and everybody's in their cribs, because all 5 of them were in cribs. So if I can
Oh
just
my
make it to
gosh.
bedtime, we will be good. Like that's what I need in life is bedtime. Uh, and I can remember thinking, like, I can't live this way. Like, I can't just live in survival mode. There's so many things I want to do as a mom and ways I want to show up as a mom that I'm not able to doing this. And so, reading all the things, couldn't find anything that was fitting for our family, which is, I know, shocking to you. Um, so, I had to figure out something that would work for us. And so, I created a process of really figuring out what's important to us, what really matters to us, and the rest of the things we're going to try to figure out systems for. Because I wanted to make sure that the things I really cared about were a priority in our life. Because at the time, you wouldn't know. I could say that something was the most important thing to me, but you wouldn't know it by how we're
Mm.
living, you know? Um, so that process was able to let me bring systems to my home, and those systems brought peace to my home. And so I'd be sitting on the chair at night and have my feet up, and the house would be clean, and kids would be in bed. And I mean, it felt magical because it just felt so counter what having a lot of kids should be like, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so finally I was like, I really think that I could do this for others too. And so I started helping friends and just seeing, I have nothing other to call it than magic, I guess, transformation, seeing the transformation of living like so chaotically and not knowing what is going on, to having peace and like really enjoying motherhood.
Hmm.
It's just been such a blessing to me and to them. And so that's kind of where Mama Systems got started, and how our family came to really thrive as a family.
That's wonderful. So what year was this that you created the system? And well, I guess I should say, when did you go from 4 to 8? And
That
then
was in,
and when did you create the systems? Like how many years ago was this?
yeah. So 2014 is when the year we moved back from Seattle
Hmm.
to adopt, and then in 2015 we finalized adoption, and that was kind of when I was like, okay, we've got to figure out something. So 2015 is when we really started putting things into play.
Okay, cool. So you've been doing this for a while and helping a
Yes.
lot of people. I love that. Thank you for doing that. And you have such a kind heart about you. I can just looking at your face and the way you talk about your family and helping other people, you just have such a wonderful heart. So I'm curious, let's dive into this a little bit. Let's pretend that someone's coming to you for the first time. They're frazzled. They are feeling a sense of overwhelm. They just don't even know where to begin. What are very common questions that people come to you with, and what are first steps for getting a process of creating calm out of chaos?
Yeah. I So my first step is to really empathize,
Mhm.
just because I've been there before. I remember, I mean, just the realness of all of it when they're talking about the overwhelming and the drowning and the um, not liking motherhood and all of that. Like I'm like, I get that. I understand that so well. And it's like you could put me there yesterday, you know?
Yeah.
Um, it's just such a real feeling. And having all those feelings while you're trying to raise a family and trying to do really life-giving work is not, those two things aren't really compatible. And so um so there's empathy on my part. they have they're just like, I won't fix everything. I like, they don't even know where to start. And so then my
Mhm.
first step is to kind of dig down a little bit with that, and we really have to figure out what we're doing in our life. So my first goal for them is to assess all the things that they're doing, all the things that they want to be doing. I think often as mamas, we live such reactionary lifestyles that we just go from thing to thing to thing to thing. And we're not even sure really where we're spending our time or our energy or our
Mhm.
day, you know?
Yeah.
So that process of just kind of calming everything and really assessing and taking inventory of all the things we're doing is really helpful.